Three. This is Sean with Voices of Racing, and I'm speaking with Tom Buzze. Tom, how you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
All right, so where are you located, Tom?
We're in Mooresville, North Carolina.
Mooresville, North Carolina. And your father originally started Buzze Racing in what year?
Like 98.
In 98. So what's a little bit of his backstory? How did he even get in the sport? What was his kind of industry?
He's always been doing mechanic work and stuff like that. And then in, I don't know what year, right, in the mid-70s, they started racing actually street stocks on dirt. And just got hooked on racing then and, turned into running, modifieds on dirt and asphalt, and just kept on going forward to, where we are now, work for race teams, and then started a drivetrain business back in 98, and actually we were all doing it then, and then we stopped mid-2000s for me to go racing, and full-time, and it just didn't work out. Then we started working for teams, and then we realized, man, we really miss doing drivetrain work. That's what we kind of tailored to since then. So and we started back rolling again full-time with it, and man, it's been just been an incredible journey since.
So you do a lot of drivetrains for a lot of teams? How many teams do you work with?
A lot. Yeah, very, very fortunate to be working a lot. We do everything from your NASCAR, your Xfinity and trucks and ARCA. We do your local stuff, your asphalt, your local late models, super late models, do dirt, same thing, modifieds, late models, do some sprint car stuff as well. And we also go over we do a lot of road course stuff. Actually, we do a lot more drag racing stuff here the past few years than we had been as well. So a lot of different areas of motorsports. It's awesome to be a part of so many different kinds of racing. Definitely, I think get so much information from different crew chiefs and drivers and whatnot. It helps us stay evolving and making our stuff better.
All right, so when somebody engages you for you to start working with them, what's the process?
Oh, whatever anymore with social media. Sometimes it's a message through Facebook, an email, whatever, and or they pick up a phone call. Sometimes we meet them at the racetrack. Like we met not this year, last year, a customer at the Snowball Derby that wasn't one of our customers. A guy had some trouble, and we introduced ourselves to him, and we helped him out, got him back on the racetrack, and he ended up becoming a customer. There's different ways definitely to do it. But if you call, we'll see what you're running and see if there's areas we can help you in, or if you have a problem, if we can fix it, and try to make it at the end of the day better than when it came in here for wherever you may be racing. It don't matter if you're, like I said, if you're running a street stock or if you're running an Xfinity car at Daytona. We treat all of our customers the same, and we treat all of our work the same exact way.
Are you creating everything from scratch, or are you working with different partners?
We have our own parts, we do, yes, but we do a lot with like suites, with the steering stuff, turn one, especially with the steering boxes as well. Rear end side, probably the most common one is Winners that we use for parts and pieces, new builds, but we do Tiger and Bulldog and stuff, there too. Brake sides, we work brake side. We do a lot with brakes, primarily with PFC. We have our own axles. We do our own line axles, the wrap-up, axles, different diameters, and we fit them to your application and best fit your need. So we definitely a mixture of both. How about us? That's the best way to put it.
Now you had a car at PRI that there was a trophy on top, and also there was a lot of signatures. If you could kind of touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, that was awesome. So cool how that worked out. That was a Snowball Derby winning, super late model. Donnie Wilson, been a great friend of ours. I've been a customer for probably 10, 12 years now, I'd say at least. And when he won that that race, he called and said, "Man, my car's going in your booth." We do a lot with Hamke race cars as well, and they usually have a car in their booth. But it kind of worked out. He runs a Hamke car, and Donnie being the friend he is, put the car in the booth. And man, I told you then, and I swear that was the coolest thing in the whole show. That car still had the champagne and soda, whatever, all over it, the confetti. It was so awesome to have that car in the booth. Just a winning car from Snowball Derby. Such a big race. It's pretty special.
And that was pretty much like the main walk-in door into the whole main room. You were right in front there, so I'm sure you got a lot. Did PRI work out pretty strongly for you?
Oh, yeah, it did. It was a great show. It really was. People had a lot of questions and concern with COVID. Not sure how the show was going to be, but it was a great show. A lot of really good conversations. Met a lot of people. That car helped out a lot because so many people come over and check out the car. A lot of pictures of the car, but also it's cool to talk about it because that car had our components. Like, we do a steering system on the rack. It's a sweet rack, but like our components and stuff we make, we rebuild it is in there. I mean, we did the transmission, we did the rear end. All the stuff that we do is on that race car. So that made it even more special, just because like our parts were on that car and helped win that race. So we won Snowball, like I think 5 out of the last 6 years. Our customers have.
Yeah.
And they're all special because that's such a prestigious race. But this one was really cool just because it was Donnie and Chandler and the whole team, Bond, everybody involved with Donnie. They're only like a mile down the road from us right now. Close with those guys, so it just made this one a little more special.
That's awesome. So who are some of the other wins that happened over the past few years? Who are some of the other drivers that have been using your parts to be able to get there?
I mean, Kyle Busch winning and Noah Gragson winning and Travis Braden winning. I mean, great stories, great to be part of it. This past year, probably one of the most remarkable seasons ever heard of on dirt is Brandon Overton. We build Brandon stuff, have for many years now, and with the different teams he's driven for, even his personal cars, but now doing it with Wells. The year they had winning the Eldora, the Dream, all that stuff. Just the year he had was pretty incredible. That was probably one of the highlights of this year. Just the year he had to be able to be associated, but so many other good runs like Chris Madden and Kyle Strickler, Chris Ferguson. So many good customers. We didn't get to work with Scott Bloomquist on the dirt side as well. Just so many good guys and good teams to work with. On dirt and asphalt, I mean, they're all special. I mean, we had a guy win a street stock race at Dillon. He's been trying to win as the New Year's Bash. He's been trying to win that race for several years now, and he was really close. But he brought his rear end up and we helped him out with a few things on it, and did his trim and did a little bit just to try to help the car. Nothing. Honestly, just basic stuff. Just made it better than what it was. And he went out there and he won that race. And that guy called me that night. And it's just ecstatic he won that race. And just hearing that from our customers is just special. I don't care what race it is. It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, you're part of it even at the finish line. And then they got to go, you know what? These guys helped me get there. Let's do it again. So yep. I'm gonna switch gears a little bit. Your father started the company. He's still involved. Like, what do you really look up to about how he built it, and what do you think are some future goals he and yourself want for the company?
I mean, Dad has taught us how to do the drivetrain, and especially, I've been working with Dad since I was 5 years old.
Right.
And we've always done this as a family. My brother's been involved, and my mom's been involved, and everything else. And then really, it's just now, it just racing is like it just keeps evolving and changing and growing, and it's something else what it's turned into. But our goal is just to try to keep our customers as satisfied as possible, and try to keep learning with how the sport's changing. Not just like from the fan side, but I'm talking from performances. tires are changing constantly, and the asphalt or dirt is constantly changing. They're just trying to make sure we can get the car whatever they need. If they need more grip, if it needs more turn, just trying to keep learning from our customers to make it better. We're always trying to tweak on something. And one thing we do with our parts and pieces is we race too. I run a tour type modified still.
Okay.
Not as much as I want to, because it's not a bad thing. My son races quarter midgets, so he races more than I do.
How old's he?
Race tour type modified.
How old's your son?
Oh, he's 8 years old.
8 years old.
Getting ready to be 9, but we race a lot of quarter. We just got back this past week from New Smyrna, run a little 500, which is awesome because he won the championship in Junior Honda and Junior Animal.
Wow.
So it's so cool to watch your kids race. But we race him as much as we can, and when we're not running a quarter midget, we're racing a modified.
Right.
So we're right in the middle of racing. So one thing we do, if we come on a new part, if it's a different axle, if it's quick change gear, whatever it may be, we put them in our car and try to put them through its paces or test them out before we put them on our customers, just to prove that it's going to give a car more drive or whatever we're looking for that part to do, or if it's quick change gear, to make sure it's going to last and take the abuse before it gets to our customers. So I don't want to give a customer a part that's not
proven
going to do what is. Yeah, so that's one thing we do a lot. Even if it's an oil, we'll test the oil out in our car before we will present it to our customer, just to make sure that it's going to perform what we want it to. It's pretty neat we get to do that because we're in the middle of racing with our business, but we race for fun as well. That's one thing we do on the performance side.
So have you had any bad spills yourself?
Any what?
And any bad crashes or spills yourself over the years?
Not really. I've been pretty fortunate. We've won several championships in our modified and a lot of races. Early in my days, now we don't run. We haven't run full time in quite a long time. You have a few little front. Like last year, I took a pretty good hit at South Boston and had to put a front clip on. But nothing really bad. Just really, really bad wrecks. I'm very thankful for, because it's not wrecking that really worries you. It's man, expensive to fix race cars.
Right.
And, I just don't like. It's a lot of money, and the time it takes to fix them. We do our stuff ourselves. Like we'll send it back to Troyer and get our front clip on it, or whatever we're going to do there. But the rest of it, we fix ourselves. So we're in the shop at night doing that. And repairs just take so much time to get back to the track. That's why I don't like tearing them up, is the time and the money.
Well, and that kind of brings up another point. So let's say somebody's, doing a circuit, and they got 10 races on their circuit, and they're third race in, and they blow out their, essentially their drivetrain or whatever it is, the steering columns or whatever that you originally set up for them. How quick is your turnaround to be able to get that out to them, build it, get it? Is it already customized for them, or what's that turnaround process when they need it kind of on the spot for that next run?
It depends. Like during the season, we understand, like, things happen. So if you wreck it on Saturday and you're racing the following Saturday, we always tell our customers, please tell us. Like, when you're bring it here as soon as you can. If you can take it apart over the weekend, get here Monday morning, so we can get it assessed and back to you. We never want to make anybody miss a race, ever. We've had guys come down from Kentucky and Indiana and Tennessee, and they'll wait in the parking lot. We'll get them in. We'll wait in the parking lot and get them back out. We had a guy drive down from Connecticut one time, unloaded his race car in the parking lot, took his rear end out, fixed it, put it back in, and put it back in the trailer, and away he went. Because he just with the circumstance he had to deal with. We'll always work on whatever we can to get you back to the track during the season. Like right now, off season, if you got time, I'm thankful we're busy. Just tell us when you're racing. If you're a month off or a month out, whatever, just tell us so we can plan accordingly on what we're building. Red Eyes coming up like New Smyrna this weekend. We did all those guys already because they're running this weekend. So that's what we try to do in off season as well.
Okay. All right, and one of the main focuses of our company, Voices of Racing, is getting the elongated life story of the legends. So, who are some of the legends in racing that you've always looked up to yourself?
Oh man, when I was a kid, my favorite driver was Davey Allison. I know, I know everybody knows he passed away, but watching Davey race was pretty cool. There's other guys that I feel that we're very fortunate to work with, like Ernie Irvin, for example. I know he ended up being in Davey's car a little bit later, but we got to work with Ernie. Still do with his son Jared. That races super late models right now. We build his stuff, so being able to work with those guys is really cool. I got a lot of my kid ones. When Alan Quickie passed away, Paul Andrews was crew chief. We've been doing stuff with Paul for quite a few years now, on and off. There's DARCA and different teams he's worked for, so it's pretty neat to be able to do that. On the short track side, like, when I was the Big Ten Series, you remember that when they used to run at Concord? And it was such a big deal. So many great racers come out of that. We built stuff for Freddie Query for quite a few years. Still see Freddie to this day. Worked with Jack Sprague too, but watching those late model guys as a kid and being able to work with them as I got older, and still to this day, Freddie sends people over. Is special. There's not just one. There's quite a few guys that were really good racers that I looked up to, and it's neat to be able to do work with them.
Yeah, and you said you got an 8-year-old son, right? So how many years has he been racing?
He started when he was 6, so he's getting ready. He'll be 9 in a month.
Okay.
But it started just before 6. He did.
All right. So if you were in a room with 10 other soon-to-be 9-year-olds who've been doing it for 3 years, what's the advice that if they always say you know a lot more now than you know then, what would you want them to really know about going into the business and sticking to it? What advice would you give to the up-and-comers?
My advice would be work on your race cars, number one, because a lot of kids I see coming up through don't really want to work on the cars. So I think when you work on a race car, you understand how it works better, and therefore it makes you a better driver. Even your relationship with your crew chief, the ones who I think are better can relay information to the crew chief better to make a better adjustment on a car.
Right.
I think working on a car helps that. I'm not saying everybody, but I mean it does help, I feel like. And even on top of it, taking care of your car. If you know what it takes to build that car and take care of it, you'll race it differently. And a lot of times you'll be there at the end of the race to get the checkered flag versus not knowing or not caring. You might shove it in there and cause a wreck and knock yourself out of a race. And you might not know how hard it was to put it back together. So you might think about that for a second. Oh, you know what? I'm going to tear the right front off this thing if I do this move. And therefore, it's going to make you, not do that move and, get to the end of the race. That'd be my biggest advice is work on the cars.
Okay.
And then second advice is the way things are right now. It's not just right now, but it's been transitioning that way, is I would be really strong on your social media and the PR side. Do as much of this is what we're doing right now to get your name out there, make a good name for yourself, have a good name for yourself, and just stay up on that, because you gotta be out there. You gotta have a good name, and you gotta learn that side of it, because you gotta represent your team and your sponsors very, very well on whatever you're doing. I don't care if you're running a late model you got team, or if you're running an Xfinity or a truck, or make it the Cup. You got to represent your people around you very, very well. So you need to really, really be good at that on top of it.
Okay. And then for yourself, what do you love most about racing? That's just a big general question, but what do you really love the most about it?
Oh, man, I love being at the racetrack. There's more than one thing. For me as a driver, I love tour type. I love modifieds. I love those cars, but all race cars in general. Just seeing what people can do to the cars to make them go faster, to see how they respond. I love the competitiveness. I love the noise, the smells, the atmosphere. I love being around those people, even around with all this COVID stuff that's been going on. One of the first people to get back in action was racing people. And whether it be a quarter midget or a dirt late model race, those people got back to the racetrack and got to live their life, even though the world was falling apart or had to be locked down.
Right.
You were able to go to the racetrack and still live your life. If they didn't want to go to the racetrack, that's fine. I'm not saying it's picking on anybody or nothing like that, but the ones who wanted to go out and go race, it's just awesome to see that and be part of it. So a lot of it's just the people. You meet some really good people in racing, and just that whole, if you want to blanket that's it right there.
All right, so for 2022, what's on the horizon for you guys? Any other conventions or any other specific things you'd like to mention?
It's coming up this weekend, actually, the Cars Show in Hickory. We're it's kind of like a mini PRI. We're going to be having a booth there. We are. After that, we'll be pretty well done with shows. We're really throughout the season. When we're not racing or something, we highlight the big shows. Like I know Mom and Dad usually go take their motor home and they go to Eldora. They're going to go down to Daytona. And they'll hit ARCA and all that stuff at Daytona, and then they'll run over to New Smyrna, just the speedweeks to go over to Volusia County and do some of those nights over there. So throughout the season, we try to go to a lot of short tracks throughout the year just to see our customers, support them if they need us, and just be there. But we won't be doing any trade shows or anything. Probably till PRI at the end of the year again.
Right.
Just be working and racing in the middle.
Okay. All right, well, Tom, I really appreciate your time for VoicesofRacing.com. It was a great overview. Is there anything else you'd like to say to race fans out there?
No, thank you guys. Thank you for doing the interview very much. I appreciate it a lot. And I'm glad everybody wants to be racing. Get out there and go race or go watch a race because, being on a short track especially is where some of the best action is the sea. So that's where I would say get out there and go short track racing.
Right on. All right, well, Tom, just stay on the line for a second. I'm going to close this one out.